Good evening and welcome to our League One predictions. Bez, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks. Last one of these, thankfully. Obviously, terrible season for Rotherham, so thankfully we've not got any more of these fiction shows to do.
Yep, thankfully this horror season is over. Right, so we'll start off with the first game of the weekend, and that is Wimbledon versus Huddersfield. I've gone a Huddersfield victory. Nothing to play for. I just think Wimbledon are a poor team. Huddersfield aren't much better, but I've gone for a 1-0 victory. No great shakes there.
Yeah, very similar. I do also think Wimbledon's a four-side and Huddersfield are a lot better, although they've had a poor season. Huddersfield, that is a very poor season by their standards. They're going to end up finishing almost 10 points off at playoffs, which is not very good at all. Wimbledon, I mean, fair play, managed to keep themselves up with that lucky 1-0 win against Wigan. I looked at the stats and Wigan completely dominated them, and Wimbledon just scored a last-minute winner. So, fair play. I think they're Wimbledon fans. I think they'll be going down next season, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I agree. Next up, Barnsley versus Stockport. So, yeah, Stockport, believe it or not, are still in the playoff. So, I've gone for a 1-0 Stockport win. I think Barnsley are absolutely awful, and I think they're another team that will get relegated next season. So, for me, Barnsley will go down next season. I'm going Stockport 1-0.
Yeah, I've gone Barnsley win. It's mainly because Stockport have almost guaranteed themselves a playoff spot. Like, they can drop out of it, but it's very, very unlikely that they drop out. So,
yeah, they're surely not bad enough to lose to Barnsley, are they? Even with
I don't know. I've only got Barnsley win because it's the last game of the season. Barnsley's manager's obviously leaving at the end of the season, and it's just the sort of game where I just think they'll get a random win. That's all it is. I think Stockport have pretty much got no to play for. I also think they might rest some players as well, which is why I think Barnsley will get the win. They'll play their strongest side. It's also the last game for a few of Barnsley's players. Obviously, that Reece Cleary, one of the best players in the division, he's probably going to leave after this season. So I think he'll want to sign off with a good performance. And I agree with you, Lee. We'll have to obviously wait to see what happens in summer. But we've already said on a previous podcast, I think Barnsley are going to be in trouble, and I do think they'll be towards bottom next season. Obviously, it depends a lot on a manager who comes in and what players they recruit over the summer. But, yeah, they're gradually getting worse and worse, and, yeah, I do think will be at least in the bottom 8 next season.
And then Bolton Wanderers versus Luton. So I've gone to a 2-1 Bolton victory. I know Bolton are virtually guaranteed a spot, aren't they? A point ahead of Stockport, but yeah, Luton. Yeah, they can sneak in Luton. It'd be a bit of a shock if they did, but yeah, I still think Bolton are one of the best teams in the league, and that's why I've purely gone at home. Last home game of the season, I think they're going to want to hit the playoffs with some momentum. Luton I've picked up recently, but even them picking up when they played Rotherham, I wasn't overly impressed by them. I think they're hard to break down, but I think Bolton have got more quality than Rotherham had, and they will go on and win that game.
Yeah, I've obviously gone opposite. I've got a Luton win. I just feel that Bolton have already guaranteed themselves the first spot. I think I don't think it matters to them where they finish. I mean, ideally, you want to finish third or fourth because you get the home leg second. But I just think that Luton's form, and it's sort of game that Luton will win to get in the playoffs. Now, they are relying on Stevenage not winning, and Stevenage have got Wigan, which is a tough game, to be fair. But I just think that Luton, they're on good form, like I've said, 4 wins and a draw, and I think they'll go to Bolton and get the win, 2-1.
Fair enough. Exeter versus Bradford City. So I've gone sort of 1-1 on this game. I don't, Bradford are 5th. They need something. Exeter need something to guarantee safety. And I think it's just going to be that much of a cagey game. I don't think either team will get what they want. I think it'll end up a draw, and I've gone 1-1.
Yeah, it is a tough game to predict this because, I mean, I know it says they're 1-0 Bradford. I actually have got 1-0 Exeter. And it was hard to predict. The reason I've kind of gone Exeter is because, obviously, Matt Taylor, to be fair to him, has come in and he's pretty much turned it around. It's a shame he could have been brought in earlier, really. But obviously, the previous manager didn't get sacked. He just moved on to Wigan, so it couldn't have been helped. But 3 draws and a win in their last 4 games suggest that they've started to be hard to beat, Exeter. And I just think with them being at home, they've got nothing to lose because they were pretty much down and out 3 or 4 weeks ago. So they've got nothing to lose. I just think they'll get a 1-0 win. Not stay up necessarily, depends on Leyton Orient, but I just think they'll get the win. And Bradford, I actually think they'll drop out. I think that Luton will go above Bradford. And obviously we'll come on to Stevenage later, but I do honestly think Bradford could drop out here. We've said it all along. I mean, look at them. Their last 4 games, drawn 3 and lost 1. So they're almost stumbling over the line, and I think that's going to cost him. I really do.
I've been getting so much stick from Bradford fans because they said that, you know, they've been in that position all season, and why do I think they were going to fall out? And you know, like Houdini, I've predicted it, and I think it will happen. I think they could fall out. I only think they're going to get a draw here. So dependent on results, that could not. I don't think that guarantees them a place. The draw, does it?
Yeah, it does, because the 3 points clear of Luton, so a draw does do enough for them.
Yes, they may sneak into it, but I did predict that they would start and drop off, and they have. So give me a bit of slack, Bradford fans. I was kind of correct in what I was saying.
Yeah, and well, they're relying on Stevenage to beat Wigan. Stevenage to not beat Wigan. Sorry, I really do think Luton win. That takes them above Bradford, so it is all on that Stevenage game, which we'll come to later. But yeah, there's a chance that Bradford fall out, unfortunately for them.
And then next up, Leyton Orient versus Burton Albion. So this is the game that I think will guarantee Leyton Orient League One status next season. I'm going to go 1-0 against Burton. Burton are a good team at home, but don't travel well away. And they're already safe, so they've got nothing to worry about. They're on the beach. And I think Leyton Orient will nick this one by 1-0.
Yeah, and Leyton Orient, again, the form's been terrible, but what they've done in recent weeks is when they have kind of dropped into that a chance of going down, they tend to get a win, and I think they'll do it again. You know, I think they won, 4 or 5 weeks ago, took them to 51 points, and we're all thinking that's safe because they've got 50 points. But because of Exeter's decent form, it's meant that Leyton Orient is still in with a chance of going down. But I just think they'll get that win. I actually think it's a good game for Leyton Orient to have. Burton, as you say, Lee, they can't go down now. I think they've had an hard, tough season. I think they'll go into this game relaxed, and that's why Leyton Orient, I think, will win the game. And that means that Leyton Orient stay up and Exeter City go down. So, unfortunate for them. And Matt Taylor did a good job for them as well, but just not quite enough, unfortunately.
And then next up, Mansfield Town versus Cardiff City. So I've gone 1-1 here. Cardiff already up. And Mansfield sort of guaranteed mid-table. I think Mansfield are decent at home as well. Last game of the season, they're not going to want to lose that. And I do rate Mansfield as a team. I rate the manager. I rate the way they've played this season, especially the second part of the season. So, yeah, I don't think Cardiff go there and win. Cardiff, for me, have been the most disappointing team in League One from what I expected of them after that first game against us. And the quality that they've got in that squad, I think they should never have allowed Lincoln to win the league, but Lincoln deserved to win the league. Lincoln have been the better team throughout the season. But to the resources that Cardiff have had in the squad they've got, second is a underachievement in my view.
Yeah, I agree with some of that. I think Cardiff should have won league. I agree. You know, they are still the best team that I've seen at New York this year. And obviously Rotherham beat Lincoln quite comfortably actually in New York, which was funny enough. But yeah, I agree. I think, look, it doesn't really matter if you finish top or second, really, as long as you get promoted. And so they'll be relatively happy that they have won promotion. You know, sometimes these teams don't always go straight back up. So there is that. So they've had an okay season, but I do agree with you, Lee. I think they've fallen short of what I expected them to be. I just think that this game, you know, Mansfield, I think they've had a good season, mid-table, another improvement on last year. I just think Cardiff will be too much for him, really. There's no pressure on either side, and when there's no pressure, normally the better quality wins, and that's why I think Cardiff will win the game 1-0.
Then Northampton versus Plymouth. So I've gone 4-1 Plymouth. I don't know if the win's going to be enough to get them in the playoffs. They've left it a little bit late, depending on results elsewhere. But I think if Plymouth do sneak in them playoffs, they could end up winning them. But I don't think they'll just get. I think due to the results, it will possibly be a step too far. But I'm not sure with the way I've put the results. They may just sneak in there because I don't think I've put Stevenage to win either. So we'll see. I've gone 4-1 Plymouth. I think Northampton are the worst team in League One by some distance. So I've gone 4-1.
Yeah, Northampton are the worst team, and there's no way that Northampton get anything from this game. It will be an hammering. And I agree with you, Lee. I think they've probably left it just a little bit too late. I think the result that cost Plymouth was the Exeter game. You know, Exeter at home, your rivals. You really should have been winning that when Exeter, are looking like going down, and they drew. So I think that game is what's going to cost them, which Exeter fans will love to hear. But yeah, this game's going to be hammering. I think they've left it too late, as I've said. I just think that one of Luton and Stevenage will pick up a win. Obviously, I've chosen Luton as a winner. We'll come on to Stevenage later. But yeah, Luton win. That ensures that Plymouth then really can't get into the playoffs. So yeah,
they're a team that have slipped up against the poorer teams. So I mean, Rotherham got a draw at home with them. You know, it weren't so long ago. That's another one game that's cost them. Like you said, the Exeter games cost them as well.
Well, Rotherham beat Plymouth, didn't they?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We took points off them. So yeah, I think they're the games where they'll look back at the season and possibly think if they would have, got something from them games, maybe they would have sneaked in. But yeah.
They also as well, like, they obviously had a terrible start. I mean, we were in October and I think they were looking like they're going to go down Plymouth. So at least they've got away from relegation zone and they are going to finish season on a high. And I'd expect Plymouth to be in the top 6 next season as long as they, keep a lot of the current squad and obviously make improvements.
Peterborough against Doncaster. So I think Doncaster are another team that next season will probably come down. I think they're a poor team. And yeah, I don't rate Doncaster at all. We'll lose Billy Sharp as well because it looks like he's moving on to pastures new. I do rate the manager, McCann. I think he's okay, but I think the squad and the investment that Doncaster put into the squad isn't good enough for League One. So I'm going to go 3-0 to Peterborough, comfortable afternoon. And next season, Doncaster have got big problems.
Yeah, I've just got a draw. Again, just an end-of-season bar draw, really. Neither of the team will care about the result of the performance because neither of the team can go up or down. Peterborough's form is not great. They're not winning at least 5, lost 3, drawn 2 of those. Donny's form's okay. They've won 2 out of the last 5. So, yeah, I just think they'll cancel each other out. I like to grab McCann. I think Donny I can't see Donny getting anywhere in the top half at the minute until they get some investment, like you say, Lee. And I do agree. I think that they'll just finish at the bottom again next season. However, I think Barnsley's got a bigger chance of getting relegated than Donny next season. Again, mainly because of manager. Obviously, it depends who Barnsley appoint. There were rumours it'd be Darren Moore, which would be an okay appointment, I guess. He's normally good at setting them up defensively, so we'll have to see. But yeah, I can't see Doncaster getting out of this league into the Championship anytime soon. I think they will continue just through fighting for survival year after year.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen that today where it looks like Darren Ferguson could be going to Leicester as manager?
Really? No, I didn't see that. That's a strange one. Because I'd have thought Leicester would appoint someone quite big, really. I mean, if it were me, I'd rather keep Gary Rowett than appoint him, Darren Ferguson, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Port Vale versus Lincoln, so champions Lincoln. I think Lincoln will win this. I mean, Port Vale, the funny side, they beat Stockport the other night and in front of Pep Guardiola. But no, I think Lincoln will win this. Deserved champions, so well done, Lincoln. You did something I don't think the majority of people who were doing the predictions at the start of the season had Lincoln winning it. If you did, you should have put that on at the bookies because you'd have got a lot of money. Yeah, great from Lincoln. Port Vale, I think they'll be challenging the top of League 2 with us next season, to be fair.
Yeah, I agree about Port Vale. It was a bit of a strange result on Tuesday or Wednesday night, whenever it were, beating Stockport, because Stockport did still need the points to guarantee their playoff spot. So I was surprised that Port Vale went there and won. It just shows, I guess, though, that when the pressure's off, you can perform. I just can't see anything but a Lincoln win here. Port Vale are one of the worst sides in the division. Lincoln, fair play. Not only have they won the league, they've also got 100 points, which is a great achievement, to be fair. So, yeah, well done, Lincoln, as you said. And I agree. I think Port Vale, every time they go down to League 2, they're normally in the top 7, so playoffs or top 3 going up. So, yeah, I agree. I think they'll be up there again. And I do like the manager they've appointed as well, John Brady. I mean, I took him at Rotherham, to be honest with you. So, yeah, he had Northampton promoted a few years ago. So I think he'll do the same for Port Vale.
Fair enough. Next up, Reading versus Blackpool. So I've gone Reading 2, Blackpool 3. I think it'll be a crazy afternoon. There's a lot of discontent at Reading with Richardson. And I think that turmoil for the end of the day will spill out onto the pitch. And Blackpool will win 3-2. And I think at the end of the game, we will see a corner flag and Richardson sacked as manager of Reading. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
3-2.
Yeah, and it is strange. I mean, I went to the Rotherham Reading game last week and Reading fans were singing about the manager and, getting rid of him and sacking him. And I have to say, it's made me not like Reading, really, because he took over Reading when this team were on the way down. I'm not saying they would have gone down, but they were bottom 8 or bottom 6 when he took over. He got on an incredible run. And look, whatever's happened in the last 3 weeks, it doesn't sound like it's actually down to the manager. Something's obviously happened, and it's affected the players. So I just don't get it. I don't understand why they'd want him. Like he goes, Lee Richardson, they could bring in someone who's worse, like a foreign manager, and they could be going back now. That'll take them back down to the bottom 6. So I have to say I'm amazed that the fans have kind of turned against him. But you're right, Lee. The form's poor. Blackpool form is good. I've only gone for a Reading win because they're at home. Again, last game of the season when there's no to play for, anything can happen. I just think he'll get a win to end the season off. There's a lot of players who they've got like Lewis Wing. I imagine he will leave the football club because he should be.
Yeah, Reading's going back to Wycombe. There's a strong rumour.
There's a rumour there. Well, that's not exactly a step forward. That's a step sideways. So, I mean, to me, I tell you what, it would be a good signing for Lincoln. I think Lincoln should sign Lewis Wing. I think that would be great for them to stay in Championship. That's what I would do if I'm Lewis Wing. But yeah, if you go to Wycombe, that's fine. So yeah, Reading will win 2-1. Blackpool, fair play. Ian Everett's done a brilliant job. He was my number 1, the Rotherham manager, and this is why, because he's kept them up. Not only has he kept them up, they're like 8 points clear. They've won 4 out of 5, so brilliant job by Never. And yeah, I've always liked him. And I think Blackpool next season will be challenging top 6.
And then Stevenage versus Wigan. So I've gone 0-0. I don't rate Stevenage. I don't really want them to get in the playoffs. Probably one of the most boringest football teams to watch. I hear a lot of Rotherham fans wanting Alex Revel as manager. I couldn't think of anything worse than watching his football. I just think it's horrible to watch. I don't think they're a very good team. And I think they'll be nervous, and I don't think they'll get over the line against Wigan. I'm going to go 0-0.
Yeah, well, one thing we do agree on is obviously there's not been any goals in this because, as you said, Stevenage have scored 48 in 45 and conceded 46. You know, a lot of 0-0s in there, or a lot of 1-0 wins and 1-0 defeats, and they aren't an exciting team to watch. But I guess you're a Stevenage fan, you don't really care. I mean, we had the Stevenage fan on a few weeks ago, and he was really positive about Stevenage, and I get it. You know, let's face it, Stevenage are a team who are probably a conference side who are punching above the weight, and they've got a chance to get into the Championship. You know, Yeovil did that a few years ago incredibly, and look where Yeovil are now. I do think Stevenage eventually will drop down into League Two and then back into conference because that's where they've pretty much belonged. But yeah, I have to say, I spent a lot of time with this result, not sure what to do. Now, I've gone 1-0 Stevenage because the reason is because I've kind of gone against Stevenage for a few weeks. I thought they'd drop out, and they seem to manage to pick up these random wins. You know, they beat Barnsley 1-0, they beat Bradford away 1-0, and I just think they'll do the same again. I think they'll get the win, and like I said, that'll guarantee their playoff spot. And in my maths, Bradford do finish 7th. So yeah, that's what I'm going for. Good luck to Stevenage in playoffs.
And then last but not least, a team that has been probably the worst team to where anybody thought. Obviously, Rotherham, usually in League One, are usually top end of the league. And to get relegated is an absolute disgrace. Yes, Matt, I'm sure I'm talking to you. You have relegated this team with your absolute shit tactics, shocking fitness methods that have left this team unfit half the season. Players not even able to play 2 and 3 games in a row. And that's on you, Sunshine. Your tactics have been awful. Your management style and skill is probably the worst I've ever seen at Rotherham United in my lifetime of being a Rotherham United fan. And this relegation is down to you and the dinosaurs that run the team at the back. So the board and Matt Amshaw. I think if we'd have employed Lee Clark before the January window, give Lee Clark a couple of those signings that you didn't end up playing either off of them. I mean, cover. I mean, come on. I mean, Biancheri, who never's been given a chance, but was never up for a relegation scrap. So, unbelievable, shocking decision to keep Matt Amshaw on, and that's relegated us. I think we will sign off with a victory because I don't think Wycombe are very good either. This league is so poor. It makes it so annoying that we've finished probably second bottom or third bottom of it, wherever we end up finishing, because it's just a travesty. I mean, Wycombe are no good, and we're no good. So we'll come out on top 2-1 for me.
Yeah, terrible season for Rotherham, as you've kind of alluded to there, Lee. And again, I agree with what you said. Matt Amshaw's relegated this side, the board have relegated this side, and you know there were no need for it really. Even with Steve Evans, Rotherham still managed to finish 13th, I think it was, and nowhere near going down. So you know, I think we've got about 20 points less this season than we did last season, which is absolute disgrace. The league's not a very good league. There's definitely some quality in that Rotherham squad. You know, Dango, for example. I liked Harry Gray. Joe Powell, I think's okay. And yeah, they're just not being utilised right at all. I get they've had injury issues. Every club has injury issues. That's not an excuse. If you looked at the players available for every single game, a lot of the games have been winnable and they've just not won. So yeah, it's on. This is down to you, I'm sure. Awful season. It's going to end, as you can see, ending with a defeat. I think Wycombe, I get their form's not very good either, but I just think Rotherham are not great at all. They did get the win against Leyton Orient. Fair play. I think that's the reason is because Leyton Orient thought they were safe when they weren't. Rotherham against Reading, average performance. They probably should have won game, to be fair, but they didn't. I just think they'll sign off, unfortunately, with defeat. Let's move on and let's hope that Rotherham have a better season next season.
And that brings us to an end. So thank you for watching, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe. We will be doing a playoff special where we'll do our predictions for the playoffs for the Championship, League One, and League Two. We may as well do League Two, seeing as we're going to be in it next season. We will also do a League One team of the season. So Bez will pick his, I'll pick mine, and then we'll sort of agree on a combined 11. So there is one thing for sure: there will be no Rotherham players in this League One team. That is for sure, because nobody has come out of this season with any credit whatsoever. Possibly Dan Gore, but I still don't think he's done enough to warrant a place in the League One team of the season. But we'll see. Bez may disagree with me. He might have him in his. Who knows? But watch out for that. But thanks again for watching. Drop your comments in as well. We do respond to all them. And see you again next time. Take care.
Cheers. Bye.